So, my name's Anthony Schultz. This is Rage Quit, and we are in the third part of our series of podcast episodes covering best and worst gaming communities.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Anthony R. Schultz, and you can also hit us up on YouTube and Twitch at ASInquisitor.
Oh, yes.
I'm joined today by my lovely wife.
I'm Ariel Schultz. You can follow me at Merhobbit.
And then today we have a guest host. So would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Yes. What's up? My name's Brandon. Owner of AFK Clothing Company. You can follow them on Instagram and Twitter as well at AFK Clothing Company. And myself on Twitter at Mr. Tidwell Skills.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And AFK Clothing Co. is actually our sponsor for Twitch and these podcasts.
They are, and we have quite a bit of clothing and cups from them.
Yeah, heck yeah. So if you would like, you can head on over to AFK Clothing Co. and you can throw in ASI into the promo code box and get 8% off.
Yep, it's
We
just
definitely
ASI.
appreciate it.
We love it. It's awesome. All right, well, so Anthony will start us off because I play games, as I explained many times before, but not as often. And so we're going to dive into the gamer community and what sucks and what doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Basically, layman's terms.
So this is a kind of a 3-part episode for Rage Quit. So Ariel and I already kind of conveyed like our opinions about the best and worst video game communities. And then last week, or the second part of the episode, we had another guest host who kind of weighed in, different perspective. A younger gentleman who talked a lot about kind of the competitive gaming scene, which I don't know a lot about.
Nope.
So he dived in with that, which was great. That was Charger. And then today we're going to get a different point of view and perspective. So I think we're just going to kind of dive headlong in, and we're going to let Brandon kind of take the wheelhouse. We'll definitely chime in and add to it, or if we have any anecdotes, we'll like I said, add to it and have a good conversation kind of going for it. We like to keep the podcast definitely very organic and very conversational.
Always.
So we're going to start off best and worst video game communities. So Brandon, like what is the best and worst video game community for you?
So are we looking for more of along the lines of like communities as far as like people who play first-person shooters, or people who play like different kinds of games, or like are we looking for like certain like games themselves, like people who play Call of Duty or people who play whatever, or just anything?
It can be a little bit of anything, to be honest. So you can talk very specifically or kind of niche oriented.
There's so much nowadays.
Or you can even widen it out to kind of broader aspects. Like we could talk about social media, like how you've interacted with, say, other gamers on Twitter, and how that has affected that community, maybe even specifically for AFK Clothing Co. Whatever you would like to talk about, really.
Yeah, no, and I can tell you just I'll go back and tell a little bit about myself. I've been playing games ever since I was little, 4 or 5 years old.
Nice.
Just seeing my dad play. He used to play just like on the computer. He would play Counter-Strike, like the first ever Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike was great.
Yeah. Do you guys know what like the Command and Conquer games are? Like
Yeah,
so he would play those, and that was kind of like my first seeing video games. But as I got older, I kind of just played what we played. Like the PlayStation 2 was out when I was a little bit younger, and then when I really started diving in, like, hey, I'm gonna do this. Was like around the Xbox 360 era, and so like just in my area, kind of like what I've seen is like you had like the main thing, and like this was big when I was in, as far as like high school goes, is like you had people who played Call of Duty, or you had people that played Halo. You had people that played Xbox 360, and you had people that played PlayStation.
Yeah.
And if you played Call of Duty and another guy played Halo, you hated each other. You weren't friends.
It is true, definitely of the time.
Yeah, and
I still think that's true to today too.
Yeah, and it's kind of still like that, but like I remember like if you played Xbox and there was other guys that played PlayStation, you hated them too, and it's not like that anymore. And I think that's kind of funny because those people used to hate each other. But no, as far as like communities go, man, this is, you could talk about anything really. There's so much. But as far as you may start with the worst or the best.
Well, what is your personal experiences like? What is the one thing that stands out to you that kind of like hits a hard note for you, either good or bad, or both even?
Yeah, I'll go with the good. Like me myself, my favorite games are obviously first-person shooters.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where my wheelhouse is.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Modern Warfare 2 days, Black
Ops 1
day.
Mm-hmm.
That's like kind of where like I grew up on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only 22, so I'm a little bit younger, but just everybody that played. I mean, you know, you would come home from school.
Yeah.
You get on, everybody else is on. That everybody's playing one game.
Yeah.
So you would go through games like that. So the first person shooter community, just like and used to, and we've grown away from this as far as tech, you know, as the new systems, the new consoles have come out. You know, everybody buys games online.
True.
I don't know the last time where I bought a game like in store. You know, but
we're a little more old school. I think we've done that a few times.
Yeah, so used to, you know, you could go to the, you could do the, you know, go to the midnight release.
Yeah.
And you would see everybody there, like the whole community, that the first person shooter community. So it was like a family reunion type thing. And so you would see that even though like half the guys there, I didn't know their names, I knew their faces and I knew of them and they knew of me because you've seen them every year in November, you know. So you see them every year, and it's kind of cool. That's something I really miss. And so that community, the first person shooter, as far as like just in my area goes, it's you know, everybody was awesome because everybody's on the same page and everybody's like, hey, you know, we're here to do this. But
do you feel like your community has developed since you've gotten older?
No, actually, I think it's actually started to decline because, like, as far as my area, more in like the southern part of the country, you know, the southern states is like everybody likes shooter games, which you know you have people who and myself that like I play just about everything, you know. I have you know all the consoles and I'll play you know everything, and so, but like as like and it's a tough time for video games right now. Everybody knows that. There's you know, E3, there was nothing really that stuck out to me that I was like, this is great.
It was a weak E3. That's a valid point.
yeah, and everybody knows that. And so it's like as the years have went on, it really has started to decline as far as people's interest goes, and as far as just you know, what are people playing in general? Like other than you know the Fortnite or Apex Legends, like I couldn't tell you anything else. Like I couldn't tell you what people on my friends list are playing right now.
True.
It's just when you look, you see just you know either somebody's playing a single player game or somebody's playing Fortnite, and that brings me into the worst gaming community. So
I think there definitely has been a renaissance in other game genres, and it's diversified what is going on right now. And first-person shooters 10 years ago, or even 15 years ago, were in their heyday. I think it was like a renaissance for first-person shooters, because I'm old enough, I remember when you know, Doom and Wolfenstein came out and playing those for the first time on shareware floppy disks. And for me, at that time, that was... I mean, it was avant-garde. It was brand new. It was amazing. I remember my uncle at the time actually getting me into the Doom shareware discs and playing that. and it was amazing. And I think we got to live through a really great time, you know, even from then, probably 10, 15 years later, renaissance again in the first-person shooter genre. So it was like Call of Duty was kind of hitting its stride. We were coming on the cusp of Medal of Honor and things like that. And then that kind of bled out into like modern day shooters with like the Battle Royale games with Fortnite and Apex and stuff like that. But I would agree. I think there's a lot less focus now on first-person shooters.
Yeah, I mean, just if you go back to, let's see, 2007, 2008, 2009, like Modern Warfare 2, for instance. Like, one of my favorite games ever.
One of my favorites, too.
Yeah, like, when that game started to die out and people, like, they were going into, let's see, Black Ops 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Black Ops 1, the Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops, like, that was, like, when those games came out, everybody hopped on those games, and everybody swapped over, and it was like, hey, new year, new game.
Oh, true.
And then it just, you know, one bad year, or, you know, 2 bad years, 3 bad years, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's just, it's on a huge decline, and the new thing now is, I mean, the Battle Royale now is the you know, the first person, like, for the kids nowadays, it's our first-person shooter.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. How do you feel about Battle Royale games, like, on the whole? Like, those kind of communities or even those kind of games?
No, I mean, I see and I'll start with, I mean, there's all sorts of different Battle Royale games out there.
And you can be very harsh and truthful on this podcast, by the way.
Just
like, you're fine.
So
we don't sugarcoat shit. Just let it out.
I got you. No, so the first ever, like, Battle Royale game that I ever played was Minecraft Hunger Games. No, I'm just kidding.
That's awesome.
No, so I guess I started about where everybody started was with PUBG.
Yeah.
Really good game, still a really good game. Kind of, I guess you know, hey, they got it kicked off for everybody type thing, and everybody just kind of, you know. I mean, not the same games, but the same idea.
Yeah, no pun intended. Definitely the apex of Battle Royale games.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I thought that was a good game. You know, it had its problems.
Every game's got all bugs during launches.
But so, Fortnite. Like, I played Fortnite like a few days after it came out. People started talking about it because people were starting to get tired of PUBG, and I was like, yeah, this game's pretty good.
Yeah.
This game's awesome. Well, me and 2 other guys, we would play for, you know, a few hours a day, and like, it was great, and we really, like, thoroughly enjoyed it. And then one day we got on and played, and we started shooting people, and then here we are, hey, let's throw up some walls. And people, and like, I was like, don't like this. And so when the game first came out, I don't think anybody knew how to build.
Oh,
and so
okay.
It was a, hey, here's a gunfight. Who's better at this? And so I like that aspect of it. The whole, hey, let's build the biggest tower and let's use the best shotgun. I don't like that aspect of it.
You don't like the camper type of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I like to, you know, obviously I like to run around and kill people.
Well, I mean, Anthony uses a sniper rifle and hides in a bush, so I get that. But when you're building buildings to blockade other people, it's kind of it kills the fun.
Yeah, it's like, I can see how people like the game, and if you watch like I mean, it's been out what now? Let's see, 2 years, 3 years.
Oh gosh,
I think about 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like the pro play, like if you watch pro Fortnite players play the game, like, it's ridiculous how fast they can throw stuff up, and just like it's. I'm not saying that I'm not good enough to do it, but they're better than me. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, same here. I actually recently dived into Apex, and I've watched a lot of other streamers and friends play Apex Legends, and that's always my takeaway from it. I was like, man, they are great. Like, I am nowhere near this caliber, and I used to think that I was really decent at shooters, but damn, they're good.
Yeah. I mean, and I know I've branched off pretty far, but as far as like the battle royale genre goes, I like the idea of it. I think Fortnite is let's go like Blackout, like the Black Ops 4 Blackout.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved it myself. I loved it. When I seen it that it was coming out, I played the beta. I was super excited for it. I loved it. Some of it, it had just like every game had its problems, but really did enjoy that game.
Yeah, that's awesome. Game mode.
And so if we talk, and I put that in there with like the top. I would say the top battle royale games, PUBG, Fortnite, Apex, and I would even throw that in there too, as far as throw Blackout in there. But as far as Apex goes, I know that one hasn't been out. Apex hasn't been out long at all, but a lot of people jumping in there, a lot of people hopping on that train and playing that, especially now that they came out with ranked.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely Apex Legends in particular is like the counterpoint to Fortnite. So people who are going to jump off that bandwagon or be upset with Fortnite, but like Battle Royale games, are going to Apex, and that's why that hype train's kind of moving along.
Well, I think, and that's what I was going to get to, is out of those 4 games, like people who started playing on PUBG, the Battle Royale genre, that were like kind of like, hey, I'm burning out on this.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fortnite came out, they're like, okay, let's hop on this game.
Yeah.
And then it was like, ooh, don't like this at all. And I think Fortnite kind of was geared more towards like younger gamers, as far as like, younger teenagers. And that's just me. I don't know what you guys think.
No,
it's the same way.
I agree. Yeah.
My niece, who's 12, plays that Fortnite, and she talks about it when she sits at night with my husband and I, and it's like, oh gosh, child.
Yeah, and it's over the top, and she's very young, and it's very much in her kind of zeitgeist or her wheelhouse. But I notice a lot of people who are, early 20s to even early 30s are jumping on a different kind of battle royale games like Apex and other ones.
Yeah, and like it's, if you look at like the best Fortnite players, I think the guy who's considered the number 1 Fortnite player, I think he's like 14 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's great. I'm glad you're good at the game.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Hey, you don't know the good old days. You know what I mean? Like you don't
having to blow the cartridge and get your game to work.
Yeah.
Channel 3. It's the only time to get the game going. Channel 3.
Yeah. Until you've ever moved your Xbox while it was on and it made a ring on your disc and you couldn't play it anymore, you don't know what true pain is.
That is a very valid point. I think the video game industry has it's moved on enough where there's distinct generations within our own community. And I don't think it's unfair to judge different generations differently based upon that. Because, I'm 30 years old. So I had an NES and a Sega Genesis when I was 5 or 6. And I started really gaming then and kind of moved on from there. But I agree your point where you're talking about, the best Fortnite player is 14, and that's really all they know. They don't know anything different. They're just coming into, this culture or this online setup. And for people like you and myself, it's we grew up and lived through, online gaming coming into its own. And what was etiquette and what were good games and what were bad games with that.
Well, I'm a Nintendo chick, honestly. That's the only games I play, and even then, same with the type of communities as well. Online's not very diverse in my community, but we still get those people you don't know this game situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's and I even heard, this has been a few years ago, I heard a guy, or who was it? It was Nate Shot. I was watching one of his streams, and he was and it was when Call of Duty World War II was first coming out. And, that's when they went back to full-on boots-on-the-ground Call of Duty. And, like, the past 3 years... You guys play Call of Duty, by the way?
We do.
Yep.
We have played it,
okay.
yes.
Just making sure.
Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 was, like, my favorites. And I platinumed a couple Call of Duty games. I haven't played the last, like, few iterations or so. But... To prove a point, I did platinum a few of them, and then I really got into Modern Warfare, that trilogy, and Black Ops.
I just played zombies, and when you glitched out and got in a corner and you can kill all the zombies, that's what I played.
I got you. Okay, but, so, he was talking on the stream, and he was like, and this is, so, like, the 3 years prior to World War II, they were all, you could, boost, jump, and fly around and stuff like that.
That was a good one, too. I played a lot of that with my friend Brad.
Yeah.
So he was playing the beta of World War II, and people were, and I personally, like, when I seen it, I was excited just because, like, that, like, I started with a game where you couldn't fly around. You know?
Yeah.
And so he was playing it, and people in his stream were like, what is this? Like, why can't you jump? Like, why can't you, jump up on stuff and fly around? And I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And he's like, if you think about it, like, if you think about somebody who started playing Call of Duty 4 years ago, like, this is all they've ever known.
That's a very valid point, and it's hard for me to get into that mindset, but I completely agree. Like, that makes sense.
Like, if the first ever Call of Duty they played was, let's see, what was it called? Advanced Warfare.
Yeah.
If that's the first Call of Duty they ever played...
That's not really the first Call of Duty, though.
Yeah, everything after that, they're flying around. That's all they've ever done.
So when they get in the old mechanics, when they bring kind of the old school, quote-unquote, back in the game, they're like, what the hell?
Yeah. And so that was like, I was like, wow, he's right. This guy's a genius. And so
that's awesome.
That was definitely a like a wow moment for me.
Kind of an eye opener moment. You're like, A, I feel old, and B, really?
Yeah, but yeah, it's tough for somebody who like you said, you guys said your first system's like the first ever system that I ever like had was was the PS2.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a PlayStation, like the original, but I didn't really play it that much. And then I had the PS2 and
the PS2 is kind of where it's at when it comes to those type of games.
Yeah. It's the best game ever for PS2, Hot Shots Golf 4. Don't know if you guys ever played that game.
Hot Shots Golf 4 was great on the PS2.
Yeah, shout out Hot Shots Golf 4.
Hell yeah. That's going to be in the description. Hashtag.
Like I said, I'm a Nintendo chick. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I've got a Switch. I'll admit it. I'm not...
That's fantastic.
No.
Hashtag not ashamed.
Yeah, no. I like it.
Right. It's good.
It helps collect dust.
Well, yeah, fair enough. I'll give you that. I played the Nintendo Game Boys and stuff. I have a Switch as well, but I still like my old school handheld games.
Yeah, I remember I used to have the God, there were so many different variations of the Game Boy. The one the perfect square one that flipped open.
The DS.
Boy,
no, it was a perfect square. It was before that. It was the clamshell, Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance SP?
Yes, that's the one I had. I had that, and I had the original Need for Speed game on there.
Nice.
Boy. Oh, yeah. I played, let's see. I can't remember all the games I had. The first Crash Bandicoot for it.
There you go.
That was actually the very first game I got for my PlayStation 1 was Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, great games. I bought Crash Bandicoot when it came out, on the Xbox One and the PlayStation. I bought that Crash Bandicoot.
Oh yeah, I got it right away too. The remaster. Yeah. Yep, I got that day one. What was that? A couple summers ago? Maybe last summer.
Maybe last summer. I think the racing
They're gonna release it soon, I think.
Or Crash Team Racing's out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to get that one too.
But it's back to as far as like video game communities go, and this is just in
hashtag sidetrack.
We'll go back to Fortnite. Just because I could talk all day and destroy it.
Dude, right?
Yeah. Well, I can. Here's the thing.
Go for it.
The people who play it competitively and who are like the best in the world, and like who will, who make a lot of money playing it. Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. You have learned how to do something that I like.
Been doing.
I will not take the time to like throw up a tower and just jump around and shoot a shotgun. I won't do. Okay?
Yeah.
Same here. That's why I don't play those kind of games.
Yeah, if you choose to do it, that's fine.
You're an equal opportunist.
But where they're recruiting their players is like we said earlier, the younger kids.
Yeah.
And this is just from having like the clothing company.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get tons, and you guys probably seen the tweets that I sent out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get tons and tons of messages every day. Hey, will you sponsor me?
Yeah.
Or like, here's the thing. If you're gonna send somebody a message that says that, and you're asking for some sort of sponsorship or some sort of affiliation, here's your options. If you're gonna DM me, that's fine, but at least make it professional. If you're gonna send me an email, at least make it professional. I don't care how you get in touch with me. I'll give you my phone number if you want to call me. Just make it professional. You know what I'm saying?
Very sure.
Are they not very professional when they reach out to you, the younger kids?
Oh, what do they say?
No. Well, the ones that are the people that I sponsor. Like I know, I can't remember if you reached out to me or if I reached out to you.
I said something on Twitter.
Because we ordered your cup.
Yeah, well, we had ordered some of your stuff. I really liked the clothing that you guys offer. It's amazing, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. And I said something about like.
Just ordered hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, I was like, oh crap, I really forgot to give a shout out to AFK Clothing Co. It had been a couple weeks, and so I gave a shout out, and I said, just jokingly, hashtag not a sponsor. And then you reached out to me because I don't know why. I don't know why you did, but
because I'm a nice guy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll take that, absolutely. But I didn't plan on that at all. Like I wasn't asking for a sponsorship. I didn't want you to. I did want you to sponsor us. I should say, but that wasn't my intention.
We really do like your clothing and your brand. That's amazing.
It was just like, oh, I want to help somebody else out. Is how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all in this community together, and I really enjoy streaming and playing video games with other, and like having a full chat when I stream.
Yeah.
Because I get to meet new people, and oftentimes they play different games than I do, and sometimes they play the same games, sometimes they just overlap, but I get to meet new people, and I want to talk to them, and somewhere along the line via Twitter, you were definitely included in that, and so I felt actually like kind of remiss in my duties in giving you a shout out. And then you reached out to me via Twitter, and I thought that was really cool and definitely excellent. I'm very proud that you guys are our sponsor.
Oh yes, very proud.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it, and we're definitely glad to have you. You guys are some people, which is fine. You know, I'm used to it by now. Some people are like they just want free stuff. And
no.
You know, and that's fine, but.
And we talked about that actually in the very beginning, because you said something along the lines of,
it's not free.
I'm gonna say it like harsh, but like you said something along the lines of, I'm not gonna give you free stuff, and I was never asking that, and I completely understand that.
Oh God, no, never. We help sponsor other sponsors as well. We don't expect free things.
No, never.
Yeah, I know I told Joe, and I tell everybody who wants to do the affiliate sponsorship, like, here's the thing: if people are using your code and like they're buying stuff, like crazy, you can have all the free stuff you want.
Yeah,
but, like,
you gotta meet that mark though.
Affiliate sponsor, and then you quit streaming next week, like
exactly,
it's not gonna work. You know, if I give something free to everybody, like I'm not gonna make any money.
Oh no,
so,
yeah, you're running a business. Yeah,
it's irresponsible to think as such.
And there's a lot of streamers who do that, where they start strong or they appear to be starting strong, and they only stream for a little bit and then they cut out and they never come back to it.
Yep.
And it's like, well, what's the point then? Like,
yeah.
Even in my position as a fellow streamer, it's like I'm gonna be unable to support you as a streamer if you're not streaming.
Yeah.
If you don't keep up with it, like there's no way. So, you know, in your position, being on the other side, you know, running a clothing company and sponsoring other gamers, like if they just cut and run, there's no way you could do that. Like your bottom line would be fucked. like you wouldn't be making any money.
Yeah, but it's you know, people are yes. If we can go back to like as far as the like people sending me messages and
absolutely.
I get like my let's just use my Twitter because that's where most people. I mean, we have Instagram too, but people do it on there as well, and I'll even get emails from the website. Like I got one the other day that just it just said, "Will you sponsor SPONCER me?" ? That was it. And see that right there. Like I locked my phone. I looked at it. I locked my phone, and I just sat there, and I was like, "This didn't happen.
Yeah.
Surely this did not." And I go to their like profile, in their bio, streamer.
Yeah.
Fortnite. And I'm like,
Oy.
And it gives their age. It's like 13. Fortnite.
Oh God.
Sniper for somebody. I'm like, man,
an adult?
Are you kidding? But no, I get all sorts of messages. I got one the other day that said, it just said, "Can I get free shirt?"
That's not even a full sentence.
Yeah, that's laughable. That's
I screenshot all of them. I'm gonna post them all on Twitter one day.
You need to. That's gonna be legit.
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh, I sent out a tweet one day, and this was like the day after, and I was furious, and I was like, if you're gonna ask for me to sponsor you, or for us to sponsor you, please just spell sponsor right.
Yeah.
Like, can we at least get that far? Just spell everything right.
Yeah.
Can you sponsor me?
Even if it's gonna be a one-liner, can we at least be grammatically correct?
and like I don't care about how many people watch your stream. I don't care about how many subscribers you have. I don't care about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you had 5,000
Professionalism
subscribers on YouTube, and you sent me a message and it said, "Will you sponsor me?" Sponsor was spelled wrong, and that's all you said. Probably not going to happen. But if a guy that has 2 subscribers on YouTube sends me a professional message asking, saying, "Hey, here's where I'm at. Here's where my goal is," I'm going to go with that guy.
Yeah. You want the professionalism in it. It's just because you're streaming doesn't mean I'm going to sponsor you because I play Minecraft or something along the lines. You want the professionalism and the respect to be sponsorer or sponsoree.
There are some Minecraft streamers who are legit as fuck, though.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to throw Minecraft under the bus. I was just an example. It's a poor example. My bad.
Yeah, you shouldn't have used Minecraft, though. You went a little too far with that.
Hell yeah! I got somebody backing me up.
I'm sorry. I love Minecraft.
I was there when Minecraft came out.
Oh, God.
Minecraft is great.
You know what, Anthony? Anthony.
Anthony? Wow.
He got the nickname because he irritated me. You're going to start playing Minecraft till way later. So I don't want to hear your shit.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but like, there's actually one guy that I think he's like an affiliate sponsor that he sent me a really like real professional message on Instagram and said, "Hey man, I was just wondering if you guys offer any sponsorship opportunities. My name is this, and I stream when I can." And just just kind of told me a little bit about himself, and I always ask, and I think I asked you, kind of like how big your community was, what all you do,
yeah,
how many watch your stream, how many people follow you on stream, and I ask everybody.
Oh
it's
yeah.
not, I don't care. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I remember.
It's not. I think when I sent it to you, I was like, "There's no wrong answer. Like, I just want to know."
It definitely was phrased that way when you responded to me, and I remember I was just starting out, and I had just become a stay-at-home dad, and so I started to refocus on streaming and video games and online content. I had done it before years ago, but I hadn't touched on it in a long time. But yeah, you did ask me those questions, and I remember truthfully responding. I was like, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. I'm about to become an affiliate, hopefully. But, I have X amount of followers. I have X amount of viewers. This is the kind of streamer I am. This is what I'm doing. I have my podcast, stuff like that.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't think I actually did it on you, but just because we had talked for a while, but before, when I ask everybody, I go look at like their social medias, and I go look at their Twitch channel.
Rightfully so.
Like I go look.
I really like that, by the way, actually. Like, I've kind of gone on a couple rants on my own Twitter about this, where if you're a fellow streamer or content producer, whether it's a podcast or via YouTube, and you follow me, I go and check out that person's profile,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to hit up their accounts, and I try to view their content. And one of the reasons that I've been kind of irritated sometimes, not often, to be honest, is when people will follow you, and then you follow them, and you want to check out their stuff, and you just need a few days to do so, and then they immediately unfollow you because they just want a number. And they're not, like you said, very professional about it. Because it's like, I wasn't even given the opportunity to hear your voice or check out the kind of content you make. And I find that generally kind of irritating.
We're more than a number.
Yeah, it's like, I get striving for the number. We all have goals. Like, that's fine. But I honestly want to make earnest connections and feel out a person. So I get running a company, especially the way you do, doing the same kind of thing, like feeling out people, going to their profiles, like watching their content when you can, when you're not busy.
Yeah. Well, in like earlier, I was, or not earlier, but the past few days I actually was listening to your guys' this podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And I go and like I have other guys that. You've probably seen them tweet out like Sir Squad. It's like they've got their like organization that I did their like team jerseys or their team like
cool.
player shirts or whatever.
I have seen that, yes.
Like I'll watch their streams and stuff, but I'm more meant it as like for instance, like when like I know I said I didn't do you, but like when I ask somebody, hey. How many Twitch followers you have, how many people watch your stream, what's your social media followings like I'll go look just to see if they actually tell me the truth.
Oh, of course. You're going to know if someone's lying.
Absolutely.
Well, and most of the time, in a lot of cases they are. Like I had a guy back, he messaged me and was like, hey, sent me this like really, good, like really awesome message. And I was like, what's your what's your Twitch, what's your stream like, what's your following like, what's your community like, tell me, social media, Discord, all that, what's up, what's poppin', tell me about it. He said something like, I've got like 600 something followers on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
I stream every day or every night. I have like over 1,000 followers on Instagram. And so I go look, he's got like 20 something followers on Twitter.
Oh.
He's got like 100 something followers on Instagram. And I was like, and I sent him a message back. I said, not that it matters. I said, I told you.
Be honest.
I said, not that it matters, but why did you lie?
Yeah, it's credibility.
And he said, well, I thought you were only looking for people with a lot of lot of followers. So I said, no, I said, I don't care anything about that. I said, I just want people who actually care about what they're doing and care about, their stream and care about what, why they're playing games or why they're making some sort of content. And then, I had another guy a while back. He sent me a really nice message. I told him, I said, tell me a little about yourself. I said, tell me, about your stream, how many followers you have. And he answered, I had already went and looked, and he had 2 followers on Twitch.
That's awesome.
And I said, I didn't say anything to him, and I was like, here comes another lie.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there waiting, and he sent me a message back. He said, I'm gonna be honest. He said, I only have 2. I think I only have 2 followers on Twitch.
That's awesome.
I don't have many followers on social media. He said, but I just started streaming. I really care about what I do. I'm not asking for anything free. I just, want to make some sort of connections to kind of help me grow.
There you go.
I said, you're signed up, bud.
That's awesome.
So, that is amazing. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It takes, some guts to tell somebody.
Especially when you got 2 followers on Twitch.
If I have 2 followers on Twitch and somebody comes up to me at, Walmart and says, hey, how many Twitch followers you have? I'm not saying 2. Definitely not. I'm not going to tell them the truth,
Not to interrupt, but do you recall that person's name to give them a shout out on our podcast? Because I would definitely be willing to follow.
Let me see. I can go look real quick.
Oh, yeah, look.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're good.
We'll fill in the content while you're looking. Take a minute. We got this. But no, I completely agree. When it comes to people wanting to be sponsored, along with streaming and communities, it comes down to honesty, community, and being together for everybody. And when you lie and boast your numbers or whatever the situation is, you come across as, honestly, a jackass. And no one wants to follow you because you're a jackass. And
it doesn't show commitment is kind of what it comes down to. If you're going to be professional and you're going to be honest, a lot of times it's indicative of someone who's going to stick it out.
Yep.
Whether they're new or not.
Or have 2 followers and they're just starting.
They're going to try.
Well, it's like, Anthony, like you said, you just... honestly, he started a couple months ago, and you give it the opportunity to be a stay-at-home dad and a streamer. You started with nothing.
Oh yeah, it was 0 for sure. I really was not involved in the Twitch community at all, and now I think we're at 132 followers.
Yep.
We've got 8 subs.
Yeah, and 1,000 followers on your Twitter tweets. Tweets.
Twitter tweets, yeah.
I say Twitter tweets. I got 60. I ain't involved in this shit.
But a lot of times the numbers don't really matter to me. It's just making those connections and growing.
It's honestly the connections that you make with the communities, regardless of sponsorships or people just saying, hey, I'm here to pop you on my laptop and get you that view.
I take it this way now. When I stream, I stream 4 days a night. Or 4 days a night. 4 days a week, every night, on those 4 days.
How many nights in a day are up there? There's only one.
Yeah. And when I stream, it's just a hangout with friends, new friends that I've made, and they dive into the chat, and they hang out and talk, and I love it. And I'm playing a video game on top of it, and there's people there, and people chime in. Who I may not know, but I love that aspect of it. It's just meeting new people and talking and chatting.
Honestly, just before our podcast, we're streaming live on YouTube,
which we normally don't do.
It's for our Fear Friday # Fear Wednesday because I work so early in the mornings in my regular job. We stream Fear Friday, which is fear games or horror games that give you the jump and the scare. And people started commenting and the community with that way.
It's the first time that we've streamed on YouTube where people have dived into the chat and they've talked to us and they've been very interactive. And I'm not very, not very focused on YouTube in general. It's more Twitch and Twitter and Instagram. And it was amazing to see. It was we built up a big enough community that it may not be huge or gigantic like a lot of the Twitch partners may have, But it was enough where when we started streaming on YouTube, like, people dived in and they were willing to chat and talk with us, and they asked about the game, and that was really cool. And that's what it's all about. That's what I really enjoy.
Listening to me scream like a little girl, you know, the norm.
Yeah, I'll have to. I didn't tonight. I know when you sent it to me and said that y'all were doing that, I was a little bit busy, but definitely I'll have to come in and watch next time for sure.
You will. It's just basically me screaming and telling him to run from the critters or things chasing him.
Yeah, so every Wednesday we're on YouTube.
And then Twitch,
we don't have a set kind of time for that, but it is on Wednesdays.
Yes.
So you can dive into that. Otherwise, my Twitch schedule is on my Twitter and on my Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's something that strikes your fancy, kind of game-wise, because I am a variety streamer, you can dive into it whenever.
Yeah, and I used to. I mean, I was streaming every night. You know, 9 o'clock to 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and ever since the clothing thing, I've kind of put it on the back burner because
you have a new focus, yeah.
Yeah, it's so, but I'll pick it back up eventually, but yeah, so just casual gaming for now. And, focusing on the clothes and stuff, but yeah, it's everything there's going good, but yeah, I'll definitely have to make sure I check you guys out since you guys are awesome.
Well, we appreciate it.
We're glad to have you.
Well, we are too. Glad to have you as a sponsor. It's amazing.
So if you could describe Fortnite and the Fortnite community in one word,
can I be old and say oi?
For me, I'm going to be a little negative, and so my one word is going to be toxic.
Okay.
Like, I think there are a lot of good
aspects.
Fortnite streamers, and there's a lot of good Apex Legends streamers and Battle Royale streamers, and I watch them. I have friends who play those games, so I don't really want to deny them. They're good people, and they're really good at the games they play. For me, I have seen so much negativity in that kind of community, either via Twitter or when I've even dived in myself or tried to, that it's a little disheartening. I feel like the internet and online gaming has grown up, and for whatever reason, Fortnite hasn't. And I don't know why that is. I think your point earlier about younger people gravitating towards Fortnite is really kind of spot on. And I think it's kind of the mentality of like a 13, 14, 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because I'm out of touch because I'm 30 years old.
Not 15.
I've got my own family. I've got my own son. Like, most of my friends are from, their early 20s to their early 40s. Like, I hit that 20-year kind of gap, but they're all adults. And I have a hard time justifying, like, the negativity, especially where I am in my life. And so, my one-word answer, like I said before, is going to be toxic. Like, I don't really appreciate that community so much.
I mean, it's not the game itself
that
I hate.
It's the people playing it.
Okay, hate. I'm not going to say, I take back hate. That's
a harsh word. I dislike them.
I even struggle with saying toxic.
Yeah, the game itself, it's okay. It's not great. It's not the worst game I've ever played.
Same.
But I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games I'd rather play than that. It's more of the people who play it and the people who that's their life.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
It's just, hey, I'm gonna sit on the end of my bed and drool all day while I play Fortnite.
When you're a 12-year-old, you can do that.
Yeah, I've seen kids cry on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube about Fortnite, or their Twitter followers fucking plummeting all of a sudden, and it's like it ruins their life.
It's like a
good
example.
Well, you don't know what it is to be an adult.
A good example. I had my niece staying over, and she had her iPad. I borrow her iPad when she's here. I woke up from sleeping to get some water, and she had her iPad on, and she was recording something, and I technically caught her. She panicked because she's not allowed to have her iPad at my house. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm recording on something like TikTok or whatever that crap is.
It's TikTok, yeah.
And I'm like, you're 12, turn that off, or I'm going to throw it away. I'm not going to because it's not my iPad, but I threatened because I'm the auntie.
There you
go. And go read a book. When she's at my house, you're a kid. You don't get that crap. You're 12. I'm sorry. You're 12.
Yeah, and it's I'm curious as to see, like, when Fortnite, like, when it finally hits its final stride, like, where they're going to go from there.
Down.
They're probably all the people that are going to raid Area 51.
True. They're gonna expand and try to be like, they're gonna go to like Call of Duty or whatnots and try to like, I played Fortnite, I can play this game. Okay, you're not the right community for this game.
And their feelings are gonna be hurt.
Their feelers are gonna get hurt hard.
It is, yeah. I mean, they're making enough money that it'll probably progress. Either they'll be very iterative with Fortnite, or they'll consolidate funds and finances and do like a Fortnite 2. But it will be more mainstream
Fortnite
than
2.0.
a lot of other genres or games.
Sorry.
The Scot was great.
Fortnite 2.0.
They definitely will
Right.
like try to propel that brand forward.
Oh, yeah.
And I think as popular as it is, it will be a
when
Fortnite 2 someday.
When they get the Fortnite 2.5 is when they're gonna fuck up.
I don't know. It could be one of those long-lasting brands like Call of Duty.
Like I said, mine is Oi. I'm gonna go with Oi because Oi is good for all circumstances.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oi for good.
It's either gonna be like one of those games, like Counter-Strike or like even Rainbow Six. I don't know if you guys play Rainbow Six.
We play Rainbow Six.
Yeah, Rainbow Six is great.
Like it's pushing what? It's been out for almost 6 years now.
Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege. So,
like,
yeah.
And it's still going strong. And like, but I mean, like Counter-Strike's been out for like forever. And,
yeah.
Like League of Legends has been out for a really long time. And,
True.
Like even like Dota's been for a while. I think it's gonna glide into one of those games that just keeps on going and going and going and
yeah.
going. You know?
It could definitely be one of those kind of legacy games. I could see that, absolutely.
But then when we're older, we'll make fun of the legacy of the 13-year-old. I'm just saying. The hashtag legacy 13-year-old.
I don't know, it's hard to tell. It's like there are some games that definitely, like, I don't know, last a length of time. Like, I think Brandon had excellent examples. I mean, you start talking about Dota or Counter-Strike or things like that. I mean, you can even get into other genres and talk about World of Warcraft or, like, you know, things along those lines. They've existed for a long fucking time in the video game industry. And Fortnite could be one of those.
Like Call of Duty's a different situation, like, because it's, like, you've got a different game every year.
Yeah.
And, like I know that, like, games, like, they come out with, like new characters, new updates and things like that, but, like...
It's not the same Call of Duty.
For
Perpetually.
the most part, it's the same game, you know? Like Pokemon. Pokemon's like that, too.
Yeah.
They've been around
on Pokemons.
Yeah, they'll be here until the end of time.
Oh, God, yes.
Yep.
I started with the original. I started with Pokemon Red and Blue. And I actually got Anthony into Pokemon. He hated Pokemon.
Yeah. And it's like Mario, too. Mario's like that, too. There's dozens of different Mario games. And it's just like
keeps going.
There's just games like that, like, or not games like as far as what I think Fortnite is going to turn into that just.
There's going to be those legends there.
I think this is a valid point. I think we're kind of pussyfooting around it a little bit, but we're talking about legacy games in very specific genres. Each of them kind of have a foothold in a different genre. So, like, you could say Call of Duty, even though it's iterative and it's not the same Call of Duty over and over and over again, it has persisted and lasted in the first-person shooter genre. We talk about Mario. That has definitely existed for decades and is the platformer kind of genre. That is the benchmark. And it just keeps going. Fortnite very well could be the benchmark or the catalyst. For granted, there's probably going to be a lot of spin-off games in that genre, and there already has been.
Spin-off games, yeah.
But Fortnite could be the benchmark in the battle royale genre, just like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It made or helped make, at least in half, the Metroidvania kind of genre, and is a benchmark for that. But we have a lot of Metroidvania games nowadays. Like, it could just kind of perpetuate. They may not be direct sequels, but it, I think, is going to provide, I don't know, a resurgence in that genre and then perpetuate it. And I think maybe even, whether there's a Fortnite 2 or not, like I said, a couple decades from now, we may look back and say Fortnite was the defining game for the Battle Royale genre, even though that mode of gameplay has existed for a lot longer.
Yeah, and like the whole like premise behind saying that is like you look at something like PUBG.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all played that at all.
I've seen it. Haven't played it.
Yeah, but like when it first like really took the world by storm, like it was, hey, gotta get this game. It's the best game there will ever be.
Yeah.
Well, it's still a good game. People still play it, but like it's slacked off. Just like when like Apex came out. I mean, it's still a fairly new game, but like when it came out, it took the world by storm for a few days, and everybody's like, hey, this is the new game. We got to get it.
Yeah.
And people did, and it's still good, and a lot of people still play that game. Like I said, it is fairly new, but like Fortnite, like when it came out, it finally hit its hit the spot, and it's still there. Like people are still playing it, and it's and I guess that's me, like the ignorance of me, like seeing me, like I'm the guy every year, like, and I'm like every year when I see the new Call of Duty trailer, I'm like, this is the year, like this is the year it comes back. Like this is the year that it will be. And I have high hopes for this year, but I've been disappointed the past few years. But like,
true,
it's like
I'm excited for this Call of Duty too. To be honest,
yeah, like I'll see.
We talk about how Call of Duty's name's the same as Modern Warfare.
We will.
And I'll get back to something because I really want to say something about the new Call of Duty, but I'll say it in a minute. But like seeing a game like being played, and then like it's like the hot game, and it coming out, people are like, oh, we got to get it, and then now, like I guess me seeing that, like just with past games, I mean that happened with like even something like Pokemon Go.
Yeah, that's true. It was a big transition from Pokemon to Pokemon Go to even the new Pokemon. I got some words for Sun and Moon, by the way, but we'll get in that later.
Yeah, like every game I've ever played, it had its prime.
Yeah.
And then it's everything after that is just it's just killing time.
True. Do you feel like with games without communities, like games kind of like Pokemon's give a good example, they have communities per se, but not like online communities are going to eventually not necessarily die out, but kind of plateau?
What are you asking?
Like, do you think like other games, like, they don't have online communities or don't have like that big community, maybe like Pokemon Go does, but like other Pokemon games or whatever won't have that rise they need?
I don't know. I mean, like Pokemon is a weird situation because
that's just an example. Pokemon is weird.
Just the type of game that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And like for instance, like Pokemon, like you said, like the online community is like nothing. Just because, I mean, it's just like everybody that plays Pokemon, like you're in, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you look at games like one of my favorite games ever, like the Far Cry game.
Far Cry is great.
We love Far Cry.
Like there's no Far Cry community. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no like hey, like we all love Far Cry. That's non-existent. Like if you look at games like
I actually have a good example for that. So I beat Far Cry New Dawn and had done everything in the game, and I play on PlayStation mostly, and so I am a trophy hunter, and I really wanted the platinum for that game, like because I platinum other Far Cry games, and I was very excited to get that platinum. And you're absolutely right. There really wasn't an online community built into it, even though a lot of people like Far Cry. And so,
like myself, and I'll say this: Far Cry 3 is the best Far Cry there ever will be.
I agree.
Till the end of time, there will be no other single player game that will ever be better than Far Cry 3.
Far Cry 3 is amazing.
Far Cry 3 best game ever. Podcast over. Let's go ahead and shut it down. No, I'm just kidding.
Heck yeah.
No, but like, and I'm sorry I interrupted.
Oh, don't interrupt. Don't worry about it.
No, you're good.
Like even if like I was actually at a video game store. I'm not gonna mention the name of it, but it rhymes with same stop. I was in there and a guy was like, he brought an Xbox One back. He was like, I can't play this. He said it won't let me play my games.
Okay.
It won't let. He's like, I can't play. And the guy was like, what are you talking? The guy working there is like, what are you talking?
Yeah.
About? He's like, I don't have internet. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, you gotta have internet to play the games.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta have internet to like download the games and stuff. If I don't have internet, what am I supposed to do? And so I was like, man. I was like, and like that's not. And I know that's a weird situation for somebody to not have internet this day and age, but it does happen. And I've been there too, like where I could only play single player games.
There is a huge percentage of the U.S. population that doesn't have internet or has like low bandwidth, and we just kind of ignore them.
Yeah, and like if you go back and look at like some of the best single player games, it's like just like Far Cry. And that's why I think that like a lot of these games like. I guess like we could say don't make it.
Yeah.
Just because there's no, hey, like we can't get on and play with the world, so this game's trash, you know?
True.
Like the other day I was talking to a guy at work. I said, hey, you ever played Far Cry 3?
Mm-hmm.
He's like a 16-year-old. He's 16. He's a really young guy. I was like, hey, you ever played Far Cry 3? He said he liked video games and he played on PC and stuff. You ever play Far Cry 3? He's like, what's Far Cry 3?
Oh, God.
Oh, damn.
And I'm like...
That's crazy.
I'm like, man... And I had to pause for a minute. I was like, I'm not going to go on a rant yet. I was like...
keyword.
I was like, let's just breathe.
Yeah, he's young, but it is crazy to think about that. Because Far Cry 3 of the series is the best one, I agree.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we played that together, actually. We did the co-op trophies to get that platinum together.
Yeah.
But it was couch co-op.
Yeah. But to go back to your question as far as, like, stuff like Pokemon, like the communities there, like, as far as something like Pokemon, Mario, like those, and I can't really think of any other examples, but it's really weird to think like how did those games get such a big fan base?
I kind of agree, and I actually have like a modern example or a good anecdote for right now. So I primarily play on the PS4. One of my most successful streams and one of the games that really like propelled me to Twitch affiliate was Days Gone. That is a single-player, narrative, exclusive game on the PlayStation. And one of the reasons that people watch me play it is because they didn't have a PlayStation. They didn't play single-player games. They were all about online or multiplayer, and they played, via their Xbox or PC.
Mm-hmm.
people were very interested in seeing a game that they couldn't play and that they hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And that's a good kind of like modern example of that. I think Days Gone honestly will have its kind of cult following or a small fan base at first. But even if, well, it will be a Sony exclusive because Sony owns that studio. But I think it'll get bigger and bigger, and then people will be more interested in it as like time goes on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be like, I really think that there. And to go back to your question again, as far as like single player games goes, like they'll definitely start. I think they'll start to climb as far. I don't know if community is the right word. Maybe people. I guess maybe people that just play the game, because I mean, I don't know. It's people are gonna like. Here's the thing: anybody that plays video games today is a streamer.
True.
That's all there is to it. Everybody that plays games is a streamer, and that's just the way it is. That's why it's so hard to make it, because you can get on Twitch right now and you can watch anybody in the world play video games.
Oh,
Very true.
And so, I think that more people are going to see like single player games being played, like Cyberpunk 2077. That game looks really good. And
oh yeah,
that's gonna be great, and I can't wait to stream that.
Yeah, that's just going to be a single player game. The community behind that game is pretty big, I believe, and so I think that that's going to be a pretty successful game. But like, just from seeing just that game alone, like what the people excited for that, I think that single player games in general will be pretty successful.
Yeah, I feel like certain genres, like Pokemon is a good example, have a certain niche community. Granted, we're not online or very vocal in a sense of the word, but everybody knows if you like Pokemons.
I think we're kind of pussyfooting around it a little bit, but it's also the same kind of thing where it may not have an online component or be directly, I don't know, have a one-on-one communication or be able to play one-on-one or even a squad of 4 certain games.
Yeah.
But
there's
fans of like Pokemon or Days Gone or other kind of single-player narratives, like we do try to find one another on other social media platforms, and that kind of builds a community elsewhere. Like it may not be direct, it's an indirect community, but we do reach out on, Discord or Twitter or Instagram or, whatever your social media platform of choice may be. We do find one another and start to follow each other. I mean, for me, a good anecdote maybe with Days Gone. I really like that game. I stream it. It helped me be an affiliate. But I found a lot of people on Twitter, even though that's not an online game, who do virtual photography of Days Gone.
Oh, yeah.
They cherish the music of it. They're doing the challenges or the survival mode of Days Gone.
There's more to community than just playing the game.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I find that really interesting, too, because it's like, that's a kind of a further step in that kind of community. It may be a single player, but they're like finding other ways to reach out to one another and talk about the things that they love.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you have, and like if you see like as far as like, let's just go back to use Pokemon. Like you have people that like will go be above and beyond for that game. Like there's other people out there that would lay down their life for it.
Oh yeah.
Which is crazy. But like people are dressed up. People like have costumes and stuff like that.
Cosplay, yo.
There's just games that don't have that. But it's just the way it is.
It is. I feel like that's a good community too, with the cosplay and just general communication and community, and not necessarily just online games, but with everything. If you can have that good communication and saying, you like Pokemon, cool, you like this, cool. It's just that communication and positivity is what we all need.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
And going back to you saying something about crossplay, I will say something positive about Fortnite. They like for the longest time, and this is, I mean, being my 15, 16-year-old self, like always wanted to play with the guys that played PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
Not because I wanted a PlayStation, just because I wanted to play with those guys and see if they were good.
Yeah.
And so, but Fortnite, they really honed in. They can bring everybody together because, I mean, you can play with, Xbox and PlayStation with PC, and then they also, throw it on the phone, and you can even play it on the Switch. So it's the first game that I've seen that brought it to everything, and so they are the pioneers as far as that goes.
I definitely agree.
They're the Oregon Trail of the game. We'll get there.
Yeah, there are a few games who definitely have been pushing kind of the boundaries in that way. Yeah. And Fortnite is definitely one of them, and it's definitely a good positive mark. I think Rocket League is another one.
Oh yeah.
We're just trying to be very inclusive and have everyone involved and just play a game you love. Be competitive if you want to, or just play casual if you want to, but everyone is involved no matter what platform you're playing on.
Everybody.
Yeah. Like when I think they already announced like crossplay for like the new Call of Duty game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like I guess for like did they announce it for was it crossplay for PlayStation, Xbox, like across the?
I think the first year for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, their newest one, is just PlayStation for now.
Oh no, it's not a timed exclusive, but I think the online communities are going to bleed over.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and like I heard somebody say one time they're like, man, that's so cool that all the systems can play together. He's like, ever since I've been wanting to play with all my friends on computer. I'm like, you have no idea how long I've waited for this.
I know, right?
Yeah, so that's shut your mouth,
Yeah, it's
but yeah, that's cool that they're finally doing that. It's
finally getting there.
It's a long time coming.
Oregon Trail has evolved. We don't learn how to hysteria.
But yeah, I think we've ventured off a little bit from the worst and best communities.
It's a good combination.
No, it's good. We definitely prefer to have this podcast be very organic.
Oh yeah. We may have a subject, but fuck, we left field that shit all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the first half of this podcast is definitely about worst and best gaming communities.
And then we left field it because it's fun.
And then, we definitely went tangential, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. No. And
it's still wrapped
obviously, this is not posting now, so I can alter the title and the description of it to kind of correspond as such.
Yep.
Yeah. But, yeah, sweet. But if we're still going, I could talk for years.
I think we're gonna wrap it up now, though. I think we went for a fair amount of time, and we had a great podcast.
Oh,
however, I will say that we'll have you on again for sure.
Yes.
Oh, I better be on for at least 9 or 10 more episodes.
Absolutely.
More than that. We got a lifetime, yo. You're stuck with us.
Yeah. So, Rage Quit is definitely like taking off, not in the way I thought it would.
In Germany.
In Germany in particular, which is weird. But in general, Rage Quit is actually doing really well. And we have people who want to listen, and they want us to do different kind of things. And we've evolved the show as we've gone on.
Always.
So, absolutely. We will definitely have you on again, and we'll hit all sorts of different subjects.
Different topics.
And I'll make sure and tag you on Twitter when we... post our topic for the episode.
Yes, and then you can chime in what you want to be included in or what you want to be promoted on. And
then we'll just have you on as SNL would say, like as a regular player.
Oh yeah.
Like you'll be our regular guest host that you'll be on every few episodes.
Oh yeah.
I got you. Well, awesome. Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. If you don't mind, when you tag me, just tag you can tag both or you can tag like the clothing company and just my personal Twitter.
Always.
You don't
yeah. No, absolutely. I definitely will. So this episode is not going to be out this Friday, but it'll be out next Friday.
We're always a Friday behind.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we're a week ahead always, just for production's sake.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we'll take it on Twitter. It's Rage Quit is accessible via Castbox, which is our hosting site. And I always kind of shout that out because it has kind of a community or like social aspect built into it. So you can like comment and you can like and favorite via Castbox. However, I am getting it out there more and more. So it's via iTunes and YouTube as well right now.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah. All right, well.
And we'll keep it going. I'm going to spread it out to Google Play and...
We'll go everywhere.
Yeah, wherever I can get it is kind of what it comes down to.
I think I was listening to on Apple Podcasts.
Good.
Yeah, we just got accepted on that.
Yeah, we actually just launched that just like a week ago.
We did?
Yeah.
So iTunes has like a kind of a strict policy where you have to have at least 3 episodes. You have to be consistent in your postings.
Yep.
And then, obviously, an RSS feed to submit to them. And so, that just launched. So, that's amazing that you listen to it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Gotcha. Well, good deal. Yeah. Yeah, great. I had fun. I enjoyed it.
Me too. I think it was a great podcast. Even if we strayed, I think it's awesome. Like, that's the whole point of the podcast.
The whole point of the podcast is
to be honest.
Stray and go to left field and see how green the grass is.
Yeah. Wherever the conversation leads us, kind of an attitude. Well, I'll close this out, and then I'll let you promote your stuff, of course.
And wrap it up.
So my name is Anthony Schultz.
My name is Ariel Schultz.
You can follow me on Twitter at Anthony R. Schultz, and you can also watch me stream at ASInquisitor on Twitch and YouTube.
You can follow me at Merhobbit. I ain't there. I'm there, but I'm not entertaining. But follow me anyways.
What do you got for us, Brandon?
Oh, Brandon. I guess I'm headed out, guys. But Brandon, owner of AFK Clothing Company. You can follow us on all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at AFK Clothing Company. You can follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Tidwell Skills. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Fun.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
We'll have you on again.
Brandon is our official sponsor via AFK Clothing Go. So, if you want to head on over there and buy some merch, I would definitely recommend it. They have some kick-ass stuff. I've got the green baseball tee.
I got the girly cutout tee. Tank top.
Yeah, I need to get a picture of you guys.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, we're planning on it, trust me.
And we got the coffee mug.
Yeah,
course.
we've got an AFK coffee mug as well, and we're definitely going to buy some more stuff. But if you head on over there and throw in ASI for ASInquisitor in that promo code box, you get 8% off.
Yep. We look forward to hearing from you, as always. Cheers.
Wait, you guys, what's your guys' code is for 8% off?
Yes.
I think so.
No, I'm going to change that. I'll make it 10% off.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck, yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
10% works. We appreciate it.
Okay, well, head on over to AFK Clothing Co.
For ASI for 10% off.
Yeah, even better.
How could